Okay, this is going to just be a short beginner's guide to sailing. In this we're going to look at how does a boat sail, what control do you have over that boat, and really what is your ultimate goal as part of a bit of training. So we'll start off with looking at different positions a boat can be in relation to the wind. Now the wind is your power source. Okay, there is also your brake as well. So if you see here at the top boat in the top corner here, the sails here are flapping. That's because you can't sail into the wind. So that's an important thing to know when you're trying to make the most out of moving through the water, but it's also an important thing to know that if you need to stop, then it's the best place to point the boat. Okay. Then we've got sail positions which are slightly tighter in as we move around, and then we get to positions where the sail is halfway out. Then the further we get round, we get in a position where the sail can be on either side. And that's where we do need to be a little bit careful, because what can happen is when you're running away from the wind, or what's called a dead run, you could find that the boom with the sail suddenly swaps over each side. So depending on the position in relation to the wind, so remember the wind's coming down here, you need to be setting your sail and your seating position in different situations. You'll always find that you'll be sitting here kind of with your back towards the wind. Okay, so once the boat's swapped over, the sails moved over on the other side, you want to be sat on this side here all the way around in relation to which way the wind's coming. So you've got various controls within this boat. Your sails are your power source, your accelerator effectively, or let's say they're your engine. You have two of those. You have what's called a jibe sail, a small sail at the front, sometimes on boats. Predominantly you will always have a mainsail on the boat, and that's the big sail. And when we say that it's like an acceleration, you control how much power is in this by using this piece of rope here called what's called the Mainsheet. Now that's a little thing because we'll always refer to ropes as sheets. So when I say the Mainsheet, that's the one that's attached to the main sail. Similar with the jibe sail here, you have the jibe sheet which is attached to it. You also have what's called the rudder, which is attached to the tiller and the tiller extension. That's effectively your steering wheel. Okay. You have a centerboard or dagger board, which is this blade which sits down into the water, and you control the position of that, and depending on relation to the wind. So depending on the direction you're sailing, you either have that up or you have that down. Okay, this picture here shows it being down. You have other little controls in the boat which alter the shape of the sail. You've got things like the kicker with this piece of rope which goes in the boom down into the boat. You control how much wind is moving over that sail by positioning these kind of bits of string and some other within the boat which control how it all looks. So your ultimate goal is going to be to sail this course here, but let's have a quick look at how the boat moves through the water in relation to the wind. So here we've got two boats. Okay, one is pointing into the wind, and you'll see here that the sail is flapping. Okay, this one is sailing upwind but on a 45-degree angle towards the wind, and what they've done is we've set the sail close in, close hauled, and we're sailing up. If I was to let that sail up a little bit too much, then I may still move up, but it won't be as fast. Again, if I pull it back in again, my sailboat will pick up speed as I move up. The centerboard, that little blade that we talked about digging down into the water, in this kind of position we want it all the way down, because what that does is it acts as resistance and stops the boat from slipping. If I was to take that centerboard up, then what I will find is I might still move through the water at the same speed, but my course will be slightly different. So it wouldn't be a 45-degree angle, it would be slipping off as we go along. If we point the nose of the boat away from the wind but keep that sail in that same position, then we're going to have a problem, because that wind is pushing on the side of the boat. Now you can lean out as much as you want there, but there's a risk that the more and more that wind pushes against that sail, you're going to capsize. Now the best thing to do is to control that by letting the sail out a bit more. the wind and the sail actually works more efficiently in this way. So rather than fighting it by pulling it in here, let it out, and the sail will take shape and the boat will move efficiently through the water. If you let it out too far, what you might find is it starts to flap. Okay, so by pulling it back in, the sail will reset and you'll be sailing away at a nice efficient speed. If we bear away a little bit more, now here, what I'm saying here, bearing away, so we're pushing the nose of the boat away from it, and we're controlling that with this rudder and tiller, we again want to position the sail. We want to keep positioning that sail in a different position to make the most of that wind, to the point eventually where we've got the sail all the way out and we're about to do what's called a jibe. Now, a jibe is when the back of the boat moves through the wind. Okay, a tack is when the front of the boat moves through the wind, like this. A jibe is when the back of the boat moves through the wind. Now what will happen is at some point, just a little bit beyond the dead run stage here, the wind will start to get around the back of that sail and it will swing over. Quite dramatically, it will go like that. And the sail will reset. Now you just need to be mindful of that, because you need to have your weight nice and balanced in the boat, keep ducking down so that boom goes over. Look after your rudder at that point, because the last thing you want to do is tweak it a little bit more so it steers back this way and it comes swinging back over. Okay, so when you do a jibe, always try and be nice and positive about where you're going after that. As you keep adjusting that tiller, pulling that sail, you need to keep changing the shape. Okay, so we get back around to this position here, where we're side onto the wind. Again, if we have that sail too close in, then we're going to risk of capsizing. Too far out, all it's going to do is flap. Okay, let's put that back. As we keep pulling the nose of the boat round into the wind, we keep adjusting that sail in, till eventually we get into the position where we're about to do a tack. So we take the nose of the boat through the wind. What will happen is the sail will flap briefly, and as long as you've got the momentum, you'll carry on all the way through, keep the rudder in the correct position, the sail will set, and then you'll be off sailing again. So ultimately we're working towards this idea of doing this triangular course. So all those positions effectively shows you in terms of the boat turning around is what you would do is you would sail around this course. So let's say we started here, we're on what's called a reach or a beam reach. We've got the wind blowing over the side. As we change the direction of the boat using the rudder, taking it closer to the wind, we bring that sail in. To sail upwind, we can't go directly upwind, so we have to do what's called tacks. So effectively we zigzag our way up to the wind, because we can sail 45 degrees to it. So eventually you do a tack, and you maybe do a second tack, and then a third, however many tacks you want to do to get yourself up through the wind. And that's swapping that sail either side of that boat as you go. When you get to a position where you want to go back over towards the side, then you on a beam reach, you let your sail out, and you continue to bear away to the point where you're on that dead run, and you do a jibe where the boom moves swiftly over to the side. Set your sails, get your weight nice and even, and round you go again. So the ultimate end of any course that you're doing in terms of sailing, it is to end up doing this triangular course, and that demonstrates that all those points of sail I showed you on that second slide can be achieved. So, just to summarise, sailboats can go in all directions, just not straight into the wind, but the wind is quite key in helping you stop the boat. So if you do want to stop the boat, whether it's alongside a jetty, you need to look at where the wind's coming and finish your boat position so it's head to wind. Stails and the stailer will need to be different positions as you go around, so as I've shown different points of sail, you need to have your sail either out or in depending on where the wind is. And the objective of all training really is to end up sailing a triangular course, and that can demonstrate that you can safely and in control sail on all points of sail, have that boat in all directions in relation to the wind, and have the sail set correctly without bumping your head on the boom or bumping into other boats. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you out on the water.